Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist, and I'm going to be doing a Yosenju deck profile. So I'm really excited to show you guys, because this deck is a super fun, really consistent deck that off of a single normal summon, you can make some incredible fields. And it's just a really fun deck to be able to play with. So without further ado guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell on there so you can become part of Notification Squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards, like getting your name description in a single video, getting assigned cards in the mail, and even getting to request a deck profile every single month patron, along with test hands. So without further ado, let's get straight on into this. So first off, we're playing 3 copies of Yosenju, 1. This card is a really powerful card and one of the best normal summons out of all of you Yosenjus, because it has the ability that if this card is normal summon, immediately after this effect resolves, you get to normal summon an additional Yosenju monster from your hand to your side of the field, except another copy of this card. And if you control another Yosenju monster, you can target a face-up card your opponent controls and return it to the hand, and this effect can only be used once while this card is face-up on the field. And all the Yosenjus that we play in this deck have the ability that during the end phase, if this card was normal summon this turn, return it to the hand. All the Yosenjus share that ability that they do return to the hand during the end phase, which is really nice for this deck because it works with powerful board wipe cards like Torrential Tribute to basically have all your monsters safely in your hand. We then play 3 copies of Yosenju, 2. This card shares the same ability as Yosenju, 1, that if it's normal summon, you can normal summon an additional Yosenju to your side of the field, except another copy of itself. But this card can attack your opponent directly, but when it does so using this effect, the damage is halved, which is a really good effect to be able to just do 900 points of damage to your opponent. We then play 3 copies of Yosenju, 3, which is actually the Searcher and does share the exact same effect as Yosenju, 1 and 2, that when it's normal summon, you get an additional normal summon of a Yosenju monster besides itself. And when another Yosenju monster you control inflicts battle damage to your opponent, you can add a Yosenju card from your deck to your hand, except another copy of Yosenju, 3, which is a really good effect to be able to search any of the cards that you need from your deck to your hand. We then play 3 copies of Yosenju, Izana. Izana is a good card for this deck because it has a lot of built-in protection for your Yosenju cards, because it has the ability that you can activate either of these effects per turn, that you can discard this card from your hand, and your opponent cannot activate cards or effects when a Yosenju monster is normal or special summon, or it has the ability that if you control another Yosenju monster, you can draw a card, which is a really good effect to be able to just draw an additional card when you have this card on your field, but always summon this card last because it doesn't give you an additional normal summon like 1, 2, and 3 do. We then play 2 copies of Yosenju Sujik. Sujik is a good 2-of as well for this deck. It's almost a hand trap that has the ability that during either player's damage step, when a Yosenju monster you control battles an opponent's monster, you can discard this card to be able to increase that monster's attack by 1,000 until the end of the turn, which is a pretty good effect to be able to boost your Yosenju monster's attack points up. It also has the ability that you can target a Yosenju monster on the field and it gains 1,000 attack points until the end of the turn while this card's on your field, which is a really good effect as well. We then play a single copy of Gandarla, the Mystery Dust Kaiju, which is just a really good card because you can bounce your Kaijus back to your hand with your copy of Yosenju, 1. Being able to out your opponent's monsters with your Kaijus that you play in this deck is just really incredible, because you can basically just tribute them over with the Kaijus and then normal summon out your Yosenju, 1 when you know it's safe to summon this card, to be able to bounce it back to your hand, so every single turn you can kaiju your opponent, which is a very old strategy of Yosenju, but still extremely powerful. We then play a single copy of Kamungus, the Sticky Strings, which is just a really good kaiju for the deck. And then we play 2 copies of Gameciel. Gameciel is a really good one as well because it's the lowest attack point kaiju in the entire game, but you can play any 4 that you want. I find that 4 work the best for me, and I like these particular ones in the deck. We then play 3 copies of Dimensional Shifter for our hand traps. This card is an incredible card for the deck because Yosenjus don't really mind being banished, because all they're basically going to do is normal summon and normal summon and normal summon again. So this card is just a really good card to be able to shut down your opponent's turn, because it has the ability, if you have no cards in your graveyard, quick effect, you can send this card from your hand to the graveyard, and until the end of the next turn, any card sent to the graveyard is banished instead. So this card is a great card to completely shut down your opponent's turn, because a lot of decks running around now are playing from the graveyard. So this card is an incredible hand trap for this deck. So that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get into the spells. So for the spells, we're going to be playing a single copy of Double or Nothing. Double or Nothing is a great card in this deck because with all of your Yosenjus being level 4 in this deck, you can basically normal summon out 2 of them to your side of the field and then use the ability to overlay them into Utopia Double, detach a material, search Double or Nothing, make Utopia on top of the Utopia Double. It comes out at 5,000, attack the opponent, negate the attack with your Utopia's effect, drop Double or Nothing, and it will go to 10,000 attack points, being able to OTK your opponent if they control a monster with 2,000 or less attack in attack position, which is just really nice in this deck to be able to OTK off of just 2 normal summons. We then play a single copy of Fire Formation Tenki because all of our Yosenju monsters are Beast Warriors, so this card comes in very handy to add any of our Yosenju monsters we want from our deck to our hand, while also giving them a 100-point boost. We then play 3 copies of Pot of Extravagance. To round out the spells, you don't play that many spells in this build because it's more of a control-based variant of this deck. So this card is a really good card because it has the ability at the start of your main phase 1, you banish 6 cards from your extra deck to be able to draw 2 cards, which is really powerful, especially to get additional Yosenjus from your deck to your hand, so then you can go in for more normal summons to be able to completely swarm the board with all of your monsters. So that's it for the spells, guys. Let's get into the traps because we play quite a few traps in this deck. We then play a single copy for the traps. We're playing a single copy of Yosenju's Secret Move. I just play a single copy of this card because you basically can only activate it during your turn because all the Yosenjus we play in this particular build return to our hand because we're not playing the Pendulums in this build. And it has the ability that when a spell or trap card or a monster effect is activated while you control at least 1 Yosenju card and all other face-up monsters you control are Yosenju monsters, negate the activation if you do destroy that card. This card's really good because it does give you added protection during your turn that you can set this card to your side of the field, and then during the following turn, when you get your turn and normal summon a Yosenju monster, you basically have the added protection with Secret Move, which is really nice. But I only play 1 copy of it because you basically aren't going to get the effect during your opponent's turn because you're not going to control any Yosenju monsters. We then play a single copy of Yosenju's Sword Sting. This card is basically compulsed because it has the ability that if you control no monsters, you can reveal 2 Yosenju monsters with different names in your hand and then target the same number of face-up cards your opponent controls and return them to the hand. I did consider playing this card as a 2-of in this deck, but I ended up with just a single copy of it in the build, and it's worked out fantastic because it's just an overall powerful trap card. We then play 3 copies of Storming Mirror Force. Since all of our monsters are going to return to our hand, this card is an extremely powerful card to play in the deck because it's just going to bounce all of our opponent's monsters that are in attack position back to their hand. I did consider playing Drowning Mirror Force over this card, but if I do have an XZ monster on my side of the field, when I have that Drowning Mirror Force set, then it's basically going to be useless. So I ended up just picking to play the 3 copies of Storm Mirror Force because it does bounce those cards back to the opponent's hand, which is a really powerful effect anyways. We then play 3 copies of Ice Dragon Prison. Ice Dragon Prison is one of the most powerful traps ever created, in my opinion, because it's going to be able to out all sorts of powerhouse monsters because it has the ability to target 1 monster in your opponent's graveyard, special summon it to your field but its effects are negated, and then you can banish 1 monster from both players' fields that have the same type as each other. This card is really powerful if your opponent's playing Destiny Hero Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer because if they pop card on your field and that Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer is in the graveyard, you can bring it back with this card and you don't have to banish it. You can actually keep it, which is really cool, but it won't have its effects. Or if they have another warrior monster on their side of the field, you can just banish both of them, which is really good. Or if they're playing Dragoon, you can banish their Dragoon since this doesn't target by bringing back the Dark Magician that they used to summon it, which is really awesome for this card. We then play 3 copies of Torrential Tribute. Torrential Tribute is extremely powerful in this deck because all your monsters are going to return to the hand during the end phase anyway, so you're not going to have any monsters on the field when you activate this card. So this card usually equals a win if my opponent can't summon after the Torrential Tribute, because after they pass back over to us, we're just going to swarm the field with all of our Yosenju monsters and be able to win the game by just summoning out like 5 Yosenjus to our field and OTKing. We then play 3 copies of Solemn Strike. Solemn Strike is just a really good trap card because it has the ability that when a monster would be special summoned or a monster effect is activated, you can pay 1,500 life points to negate the summon or activation, and if you do, destroy that card. So this card is a great 3-of in this deck to be able to just stop your opponent's summons and be able to then go in for OTKs. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, we're going to be playing 2 copies of Lightning Chidori. Keep in mind, we are playing an extravagance build, so we're going to be playing a lot of 2 and 3 ofs for our extra deck. So we're going to be playing 2 copies of Lightning Chidori because it has the ability that when it's XZ summon, you can target a set card your opponent controls and return to the bottom of the deck. And then once returned, you can detach a material from this card, then target a face-up card your opponent controls and return it to the top of the deck, which is a really, really good effect. We then play 2 copies of Tornado Dragon. Tornado Dragon is basically just a generic pop spells and traps on the field, which is really good for this deck because it is a quick effect. So this card does come in very, very handy in this deck. We then play 3 copies of Utopia Double because it is our OTK piece that we can just make it with any 2 normal summons of our Yosenju monsters to our side of the field. Make this card, detach a material, search double or nothing, make Utopia on top of it, comes out at 5k. Then you can basically attack your opponent with that Utopia, detach a material, attack again with the Utopia after dropping it double or nothing, and then it will go up to 10,000 attack points because of the Utopia or the double or nothing to be able to just OTK the opponent if they control a monster that's in an attack position that has 2,000 attack points or less. So this card is a great 3 of in the deck. We then play 3 copies of Utopia because we're always going to be summoning Utopia on top of doubles. We want to make sure that we don't banish all the copies off of the copies of our extravagance. So this card is very, very important to play as a 3 of. We then play a single copy of Baguska. Baguska is really good because it can help you slow down the game a little bit. I just play a single copy of it because I can control the board pretty well with the trap cards that we play in the deck. So this card is just a really good 1-of in my opinion. In the deck, we play a single copy of Harpy's Pet Phantasmal Dragon. Phantasmal Dragon just requires 3 wind monsters, so it's very easy to summon in this deck. To be able to just attack your opponent directly 3 times with this card, to be able to basically get them in range with your Yosenju Kama 2 is just really, really nice. But during the end phase, you're going to detach a material from this card, and when it has XZs on it, it makes it so that this card can attack your opponent directly, and your opponent can target any Harpy monster, which is this card, with effects or for attacks, which is just really, really good. We then play a single copy of Gaga Cowboy. Gaga Cowboy helps you go in for game because you can cowboy for game, which is really nice to do that last 800 points of damage with this card. And then since we are playing so many XZs, we are playing double Zeus. Zeus is just extremely good in any XZ based deck, which is just really nice in this particular build because you can just detach 2 materials from this and then go in by destroying all the cards on the field or sending all the cards on the field to the graveyard, which is just really, really nice for this card. So that's it for the deck, guys. I hope you did enjoy it. It's a really awesome deck to play. It's not even that crazy for the Yosenju package to play in the deck. You can play a bunch of budget rank 4s if you want to, or the Nightmare monsters if you want to go for a little bit more budget for the extra deck, but it is a really, really fun deck to be able to play with that's actually been reprinted pretty much all in common, so it's a very, very good deck. So anyways, guys, this is DarkArmedDuelist. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell there so you can come part of our notification squad, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.